right, good evening, everyone. It's 6 p.m. I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order. It is April 10th, 2025. It's our regular council meeting. Lori, can I get roll call, please?
Mayor Young,
Here.
Vice Mayor Sartori,
Here.
Councilmember Brandon,
Here.
Councilmember Painter,
Here.
Councilmember French.
Here.
Thank you. The invocation and pledge of allegiance will be led by Councilmember French.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, I have a guest from Family Church Tequesta, Jarvis Coyate. If you could please come up here, and he's going to pray for us this evening.
Well, good evening, guys. Happy to be here. Like Mr. Jayson said, my name is Jarvis Coyate, student pastor here at Family Church Tequesta. And let's bow our heads and let's pray this evening. Father God, we thank you for today. God, we thank you for all that you are doing here in the village of Tequesta, God. And so right now we give this meeting to you, God. We give everything that we do, Lord, to you, God. And right now, we know there are some people in the room right now, some people in our neighborhoods, Lord, who just feel the brokenness, God, who feel the emptiness without you, God. And I just pray that, Lord, that you would just feel their brokenness, God. Thank you for the amazing gift of your Son, Jesus Christ, for dying on the cross for us, Lord. And thank you for being able to have a relationship with you, God. And so we pray right now, God, we pray that that you would give us wisdom, that you would give us patience and understanding throughout this meeting. We just pray this all in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jarvis. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, our first presentation tonight is an annual overview of Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. Are they here?
I don't think they're here.
Nope. Okay, we'll move on to the second, which is a proclamation proclaiming May 10th and 11th as American Legion Auxiliary Poppy Days. I don't believe anyone's here for that, so we won't read it into the record. Moving on to agenda item 3, a proclamation proclaiming April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the Village of Tequesta, and also an update on Arbor Day event and Tree City USA signs. I don't think Jay is here to accept the proclamation, but Jeremy, do you have anything you want to update us on the event and the signs?
Yeah, so we are looking at signs. We have the location pointed out. We are having an Arbor Day celebration that is coming up. We had a little bit of prompt there, but you had the date. Do you have the date?
April 25th.
April 25th, that's right. And so we're going to do similar to what we did last year. We're going to invite some of the local schools. I know that we've already got one of the schools that accepted, and they will be here. And so we're looking forward to planting another tree. It'll be out here in Village Hall and planting a tree out in front.
Thank you. And I know part of that was the sign locations. Does council have any comments or suggestions on those? I know there was a map provided. Are we good with those? I had a thought, maybe do we put some at kind of the gateways when people come in at, US 1 or coming in on Country Club from the north? Would it be better to have some of them at our gateways so when people come in here they know that we're a tree city? That was really my only thought. Or I don't know if it matters that much, but I think it's a big deal.
I'm not saying it's a big deal.
I'm proud of it.
No, especially the US 1 corridor. And you mean the permanent sign or the temporary just for that time?
No, there's permanent signs that are to be installed, correct, Jeremy?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd say as long as it's not a significant cost, I think it's a good idea.
Any other thoughts?
If you could
Do it per the plan, or do you want to move some to some of our gateways?
I would agree to move one of the north or the furthest west, maybe towards one of the gateways, US 1 or Old Dixie and Tequesta Drive.
We might need to plant a few more trees around US 1 if we're going to put that there.
Where's that north one?
Looks
Very
like
north one.
Seabrook,
Oh, is it Seabrook?
Remembrance Park.
Very north one. It looks like it's off county line.
I think it's
No,
Remembrance
that's
Park.
off.
Oh, it might be Remembrance Park.
Oh, there is a county line one too, though.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. Okay, I was talking
Okay,
about the
so
one.
must- oh, there's more than that too.
Oh, man.
I don't know, I mean, how many signs do we really need?
You know, is that part of the requirements? Like, we have to put, isn't that part of it, or no?
Yeah, we do need to do some signs. I don't know if we need to do that many, but we should have a sign up as
Okay.
part of that program.
Well, I think we're in agreement, maybe do at least one or two at some of the gateways so people see it when they're coming in. So why don't you just have Jay take a stab at that and we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
All right, everyone good?
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, moving on, agenda item 4, annual general employee pension update by trustees Ben Ward and former Vice Mayor Stone. Hello.
Hello. Good evening, council, vice mayor, mayor, attorney, village manager, clerk, and lieutenant. It's an honor to be back here today. So I'm going to start off with the talking about a little bit about what's going on with general employee pension, as we have a PowerPoint. Not today. So there's a couple
We're
things.
not right this second. We're having connection issues. Our computer reset, so give me a minute.
No, we're good, we're good. So keep in mind, pensions are, have a couple of different levels that you can pull back and forth, and how they have an impact on the overall residents and the members. So the general employees pension has a 2-time multiplier. So what that means is basically every year of employment, they get 2% of their final compensation that they get on an annualized basis. So if an employee works 10 years, that's 20%. If they work 20 years, 40, 30 years, 60%. And it's based on the top 5 years of the last 10 years that they worked. So if you raise that multiplier, right, that has a huge impact on the overall pension and the liability that the village owns and needs to pay into the plan. The other thing that has a big impact is, one, the overall salaries, right? How many employees you have and the total amount of dollars that you're paying those employees, because that has that impact. So if you raise, the salaries, that's gonna have some stress on the overall pension plan. All right, we got something. Let's see.
I think you have to put it in PowerPoint or presentation.
Hold on, I gotta put this thing in. That'll help.
So that's a big impact when you have the salaries and the number of employees, and you'll see that over the years, we've increased the amount of employees, and obviously salaries have gone up for inflationary purposes. The other thing that has an impact is how the market performs, right? So if the market goes up one particular year and versus the next year it goes down, that has a impact on regards to kind of the assumptions. Remember, pensions are long-term, so we're thinking 30 years, 40 years, and we're trying to average out the average rate of return at 6.5%. Now, so the council, the board has no say on any of that, right? We can't control the markets, we can't control kind of what happens with the multiplier, we can't control what happens with the salaries. What we can do is have an impact on the actuary, that rate of return, that 6.5%. We can say, hey, we should raise that because we think over the years that we can get more than 6.5%. That would have a positive impact to the village, potentially, where they have to pay more into the plan because they have to meet that higher rate of return on that annualized basis. If we lower that, that would then potentially, again, depending on how that situation works, could it be positive or negative? We're pretty comfortable with that 6.5. The actuary or the finance committee that we work with think that 6.5 is a good number. So I don't think that's going to be changing anytime soon.
Still having
Okay,
some issues.
so the other things too that I will say is when you look at our plan and you look at over the years how it's performed, we're in the top, I think, 25 percentile of plans, meaning the performance of the numbers of the rate of return is really, really good. So we've done a really good job on the investment side, and we'll continue to, yeah, go ahead. All right.
Let's try it.
Back is forward, right? All right, so those are the members of the board. We thank them for all of their time and throughout the year. They get together a handful of times, and we are all paid volunteers. So since 2003, you can see the numbers here. The market value of the investments have gone from 400,000 to 2023. We're looking at a little over 8 million. Today's dollars, we're close to $10 million in the plan. You can see the number of participants have gone from 25 to 52, and that is have an impact on the payroll side as well. All right, all this stuff I know that you can read. The things that I want to point out is the employee contribution. It is a 5% contribution that all employees pay into the plan. If you look at the village contribution, if you do the math, that's about 8%. So the village is contributing about 8% of into the plan for the general employees, which is a really good number and shows how much the residents and obviously the staff value those employees. The administrative costs and investment expense is around 1%. The village pays that. So in theory, the village is paying close to 9% of salary is the liability that the village has into the plan itself. Asset allocation, it is a very prudent allocation when you look at compared to stocks, bonds, real estate, and domestic and international investments. So here's what I was talking about. So that top row, that total fund, it's broken down by quarter, fiscal year to date, 1 year, 3 year, and so on. If you look at since inception, since the plan has been created, we're in the 19th percentile. So that is really, really positive, and we've done a very, very good job over the years. I know I've recently just joined this board. Ben's been on it for 9 years. Ben has experienced 2 bear markets. He's in his 3rd bear market now, and look, we're still doing okay. So we're not real concerned with short-term fluctuations in the market. I'm going to fly through that a little bit. Made some recent changes, just more housekeeping, minor changes to the allocation, grabbing some small caps, but nothing significant there with regards to the overall plan itself. We're in the process of getting out of the real estate. Prior to COVID, it was a good investment to be in some type of real estate fund. Now that there seems to be a lot of people exiting buildings and all throughout the United States, the fund that we were in, we're very focused in the big top cities, and we've seen some pressure on that, so we are in the process of exiting that. Again, this is where the actuary numbers come through. We are a very solid plan. That's where you can see that 6.5% down at the bottom. We are fully funded. We're not at risk of not being able to make our contributions or payments to the employees when they retire. Again, you can see 99.5% funded. That's an excellent spot. You can see the total cost right there at 9.8. That includes the employee plus the cost of the plan itself. Right around $482,000. Yeah, so you can see here our contribution rate has been very consistent, and that is the positive side of things. Yes, it increased a little over $40,000 this past year, but the overall percentage did come down just by a hair, 0.28. More salaries obviously has that impact on that $40,000. Again, here's the variability of future contribution rates. When you look at the how we calculate this, there is what we call a gradual recognition over the 4 years. So if 1 year is high, we will take the average out and spread that out over a period of time. That makes a very more fluctuating contribution that the village has to make, and we've been able to keep that very, very close to where it's not a huge impact from year to year to year, just because of the way things have been being managed from all those 4 levers have all been pretty consistent. Making a little change to mortality rate. That's we're still in a good case when that happens as well, so no concern there. Kind of what I just reviewed. We talked about that the multiplier 2% when it has into play, and one more. So members are eligible for normal retirement at age 62 or upon 30 years of service. We do provide disability benefits. Minimum of 42% when they're in the line of duty and 25% off. And like we said, member contribution 5%. Any questions?
Thank you. Council, open up for any comments or questions?
Thank you, Kyle. I do not have any questions, but that was a fantastic presentation.
No questions.
I have one question. Thank you for your service, just as a previous council member and as a resident and financial advisor. You really do understand the employees and the inner workings. Thank you for volunteering your time. When and if it's 100% funded, is it under your purview on the board to make any suggestions on any changes that should happen after it's 100% funding?
That wouldn't be our place to make any of those recommendations or changes. Our job is just to try to keep it right at 100%.
Understand. Thank you.
Kyle, thank you, and to Ben and to your whole committee. Having sat on the Public Safety Officer Pension Board, I know how it can just be a lot of math and a lot of numbers at times. So thank you for taking the time to understand that and looking out for people that you probably will never meet. So it's just it's a great thing that you guys do, so thank you.
Just one quick question. The state statute that you said we're gonna have to come in compliance with, do we have any idea like what that dollar amount changes, or is just no
We're pretty
clear
much
to date?
already doing it, and so
Oh,
it's
okay.
not gonna have an impact. with
Oh,
the dollar
good.
amount per se.
Good to hear. Great, okay. Any other council comments or questions? Okay, well, I quickly just want to say, I want to thank all of the board members. We're very lucky to have members with such expertise helping on this board. And tonight, I want to give special recognition to Ben Ward. He is a highly valued and appreciated volunteer with the Village of Tequesta for the past 20 years. He first served on the village's Board of Adjustment for 11 years and has been on the General Employee Pension Board for the past 9 years. Your long-term commitment to our community has left such a positive impact on our village and its employees. So we're very grateful for your unwavering commitment and dedication and contributions you've made to our village. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben. That's what it has to be.
Yeah, have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Real quick, on the consent agenda, I just want to point out, there are some work authorizations for utilities department, and those are happening because of the capital recovery charge that we enacted. So I think, just want that on record, out loud, that, you know, it was tough to do that, but it's paying off, because now we're doing projects that we weren't able to do before.
That's great.
So thank you,
Awesome.
utilities department as well, appreciate that. Okay, moving on, communications from citizens.
Yes, we have Harold Taylor.
Harold Taylor, 13 Chapel Court. I was reminded of background sounds by a letter I got in the mail from Hannah's home yesterday. They were saying how much they appreciate those of us, at least that are living on Chapel Court, and I'm sure Chapel Circle, with the background noise from all of the civil work they've been doing. Essentially 5 days a week, couple machines running. When they're running their cat or their compact roller, everything in the house vibrates. So we've put up with a fair amount. But you know what? I work construction. I understand. It's just the price of running machines. It did remind me of something that came up. I don't know if the council's made a decision on quiet zones yet. But when it comes to quiet zones, the first consideration should be public safety, not complaints from a few residents annoyed by the blowing of train horns, which cover about 3 or 4 horn blasts over about a 10-second period, 15 or 20 times a day. We listen to Hannah's Home Construction essentially 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, mostly for the past 2 or 3 months. Thank God the people in Tequesta Trace don't live next to Hannah's Home. if not already done, I would suggest that a staff member should contact the FEC to see if there's any backup electrical source for their detectors, the flashing red lights, and crossing arms. My concern is what happens if we have a power loss in the area due to a severe storm. Those horn blows are the perfect backup system. They don't rely on any electrical power availability. Another concern is the cost. If my memory is correct, that was to be approximately $60,000 to relocate, I think, a driveway. Village population is currently about 6,100. If there were about 8 or 10 complaints about the horns last summer by memory, let's assume more complaints have been made since then. Let's set the number of complaints at 50. If we have 50 people complaining about the horns, you realize we're gonna spend $60,000 on less than 1% of our population. Since last summer, several residents have questioned the increase in our water bills, waste pickup services. Wouldn't it be better to use that $60,000 in ways that benefit more than 1% of the population? I don't know that anyone wants to see our tax dollars spent on so few people. Seems extremely unjust and immoral to me. Please think this issue from all angles, safety and cost, before you make a final decision. And please contact the railroad. I can't do that, and that's what they never tell me. Because they're gonna ask me, what are you trying to do? Defeat our system? So we need to know if there's any backup. Because if there's no backup, you're gonna get people killed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy, I know, maybe you could get some of, I don't know if you can answer any on the spot, or if we can, research some of those and get back to Harold on them.
Yeah, I can reach out to Harold, but I will say that we don't anticipate any costs with that now. We got a grant with FDOT, and TPA is gonna take on the cost. We're gonna put in a double arm, so I know we reported on that previously, but right now, we're not anticipating any cost for that quiet zone. But I can reach out to Mr. Harold, and we can have a conversation about those.
Great, thank you, appreciate that. Any other communications from citizens? No? Okay, moving on, communications from council.
Nothing specific, except for all the Gators in Tequesta, go Gators.
Okay. I'll just go this way.
All alone over
I have nothing to.
there. I have one item. I finally had availability to attend the Police Explorer training on Tuesday night, and I stayed for a little while and I watched everything they did, and from the officers to the actual cadets, it was inspiring. I mean, I was proud of them. I was only there for an hour, and I was so proud of all the cadets, and the passion the officers had was really impressive. And I've been through different Explorer academies, and I feel like, and again, I guess I'm biased, but there was something special there. There was just a lot of passion for the village and for those officers. And I think we were hiring 2 of them. One we already hired, and then another was possible as I was giving them my sales page on why you should, work in Tequesta. And it was a really great experience, I think, for me as well. Selfishly, I know they're having a good experience, but I enjoyed it as well. So thank you for the village and chief for putting that on.
I have nothing.
2 quick things. One, I was appointed to MCFEC, which is a multi-intergovernmental coordinations issues forum. And so they've been meeting, I had my first meeting with them on March 31st, and we received an update from the county on the status of the countywide master transportation plan. And we also discussed what MCFEC's SOP is going to be for the oversight of that transportation plan process. We talked about kind of what the overall information sharing, who's going to get what information, how are we gonna share it, and then we also are discussing iParks 2.0 role in the plan as well. So I'm very excited to be part of that committee. I think that, especially with my addition, I think it's very well-rounded representation of the different types of, municipalities in the city. You have the school board on there, there's county commissioners on there. So, I'm again excited, I'm gonna do my part, and, I think it's a good way to represent not just Tequesta, but, the smaller municipalities that, have very different interests and needs than the larger. So, I'll keep you guys posted on those efforts. And then also, I just wanna thank, any council members who are active, I don't know, because we don't talk, but then also thank staff for all the advocacy we've been doing this session. It's been a lot. The session's gonna be over before you know it, I feel like now. I personally think it's one of the toughest sessions. So far, I feel like there's not been a lot of movement. Like, I feel like in the past, there's been a little bit more collaboration back and forth. So thank you, because I know it takes up a lot of time. It's been a lot. So, all right, that's it. Moving on to standing reports, village attorney.
To follow up with your last comment, Mayor, I would say without a doubt, in my recent memory, this is the toughest session that I ever remember being involved in the years I've been doing local government work. But yeah, a lot of work this year. But it seems like it's paying off. There has been some positive feedback from the Florida League on amendments that are happening and bills that are getting softened and that sort of thing, so that's good. I did want to share some news with the council. I know you're all familiar with Amity Barnard, who's been my senior associate. She's covered for me here from time to time, and then Dylan Brandenburg, who handles planning and zoning and code enforcement here in the village. As of this month, they have both become shareholders and partners in my law firm, so I'm very proud of them. They will both continue to have involvement in village operations through my office, but I did want to share the news that they're no longer just associates or of council. They're both shareholders and partners. And
Good for them.
we'll be rebranding at some point, and their names will be going up on the wall, and so I wanted to share that with you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Tell them congratulations.
Yeah.
All right, any questions for the attorney?
None.
All right, village manager?
All right, probably the most question thing that I've got is about the AT&T box on L Portal. We did get an update from them just today that they have ordered that new box. It's been a process, but they are in the process of trying to replace that. And so I know Doug has worked relentlessly to try to, get them to do that. They were going through, the corporate and trying to reevaluate whether they were gonna replace the box or, move everybody to fiber, and so that they have ordered the box. I'd say, a couple things to keep an eye on. We have gotten a couple reports about price increases throughout the village and contracts. Obviously with some of the tariff stuff, and there's a lot of uncertainty. I know contractors are starting to increase their prices. We'll keep an eye on that. The legislative session, to piggyback on what everybody else, I have been in constant contact with Mr. Pruitt, our lobbyist, as early as today. We are optimistic with some of the bills that we've been tracking with sovereign immunity, with the utility surcharge, that some of those bills have stopped or slowed or been amended to I don't say benefit the village, but be more tolerable for the village. So this is really the last week of committees, and if it hasn't made it out of committee, it's very tough to get it through now. So a lot of these bills that we were very concerned about, I think we're able to hopefully we'll able to see some of those die a happy death, but we'll see. I know Jay has been working. We had a meeting today with mobility fee, and I know there's some stuff going around the county and Village of Palm Springs. We continue to move forward with that mobility plan and looking at the fee. I'm in a better spot than I was a while ago when you were asking me about dates. The Arbor Day celebration is April 25th, starts at 9 a.m. This Saturday, we have a Shred It and Coffee event here at Village Hall at 9 a.m. and Coffee with a Cop. So we hope everybody can join us for that. April 19th, we have the boater safety course that's coming up. I think they had a very successful one a week or so ago that the police department partnered with the Coast Guard to put on a boater safety course. Maybe the chief will elaborate on how that went, but from what I hear, it was a successful event. And with that, you have my report.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for the manager?
No, thank you.
Shep, thank you for providing the updates for the bills for us each week. That's a great help. You really summarize it and even add a little bold in there, which is nice.
Great. Police Department. Chief.
Evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. You all have my report for the month. A couple of highlights, like the manager said, Coffee with a Cop this upcoming Saturday with the Shred event with the clerk's office. We do that twice a year. It's a great event, 9 to 11. So those of you that have a lot of old paperwork that you want to get shredded, please stop by and have a donut, because the manager loves that. The cops love donuts. And, you know, we'll have some conversations. We'll have some flyers out, you know, with some safety tips. Like the manager said, we do have our border safety course on the 19th, the following Saturday. We do have 5 openings. If anyone's interested, if you know anyone and you want to recommend someone, we do have 5 openings still for that. The first one went very well. Officer Pruitt did a phenomenal job of putting that together along with the Coast Guard. So the civilian firearms course is also this Saturday, because we figured we throw many events on the same day. So that'll be going on here in council chambers as well. I do want to highlight Officer Tequesta, Detective Tequesta. He performed a crime prevention through environmental design. I spoke about it last council meeting. I was glad that one of our residents actually reached out and asked us to do a survey of our home for safety. So that was accomplished during the month. Councilman French, thank you for the nice words about the Explorers. You know, we're very excited about it. We honestly, we love interacting with our kids, and it's really a lot of fun for the officers as well. In regards to e-bikes, since I last spoke at the workshop, just to let you all know, like I said, we're going to continue to enforce and educate. We've made 13 contacts since that Monday the 31st. We did issue 2 citations, one for a light, missing a light, and one for a helmet. During that same time, we also trespassed 2 juveniles from the country club that were in the back there in the country club area. As many of you know, something happened in North Palm where they caused a lot of damage. So whenever we get quick calls like that, we make sure that we get out there and identify the individuals. So they were trespassed from the property. Unfortunately, we also had thank God, a minor crash with an e-bike. A young man, he had his helmet on, just lost control of the bike. It wasn't doing anything crazy or anything, but thank God he had his helmet on. He just suffered a minor laceration. So, like I said, we'll continue to do that. And that's my report, if anyone has any questions.
Thank you. Anything for Chief?
No, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Nope, just I shared with Chief, I tend to have e-bike, well, I should say e-bikers, but bike and teens outside my house on a pretty much daily night routine. And many of them last night, they all had helmets on. They all had a light on the front. There was a comment made by one of the youth that an officer told them the yellow light is not effective and they need to gear towards the daylight. So maybe just some education on clarifying that. And then 2 of them had the little light that our police actually give out, the little blue ones. But the size of those bikes, that little baby light was very tiny. So maybe 2 lights just to help them out. But I like that our officers are helping our youth, give them tools so they don't get in so much trouble. So if we give them the tools and they aren't using the tools, then I feel like we can maybe escalate the conversation a little bit. But until we give them the tools, I appreciate you guys getting out there. And I see improvements. I know there's always the ones that ruin it for everyone, but the ones that are outside my house, they're showing good signs. So I'm proud of them. Now he's gotta get home by dark.
Okay, anything else?
I would like to say something. Chief, my wife and I took the firearms course last month, and great experience. So as long as we can continue with that program, it's amazing. Just people that have never handled a gun before, just how comfortable you are at the end of the day. You learn how to load a clip and all kinds of stuff. So wonderful program that I hope we continue for a while. And yes, last Saturday at about approximately 8:35 p.m., there was an e-bike crash in front of my house. And I've said this month after month after month. There's gonna be, I saw a young man that was scared to death The neighbor, it was right at the corner of Tequesta Drive and North Dover. The owner has not moved in yet, but is there working, and he heard a horrific crash, as did I. We both went running outside. But to see our first responders, fire was there, we had the truck, we had the rescue. They were attending to that young man and calming him down. He was scared. He had a big laceration. It looked worse initially than it probably was. Called his parents, they came there. But our police department immediately had the bike upside down, and they were just looking at it to make sure it wasn't altered in any way and just inspecting it. And the way our fire department comforted that young man who was scared to death. He was afraid of getting in trouble from his parents. And also, he had a look of shock on him. And the whole street was lit up with every light that our first responders have. So it was great immediate response once the call went out. But like my colleague here, I will continue to beat the drum because we're not going to be lucky. There'll be a night that we will not be lucky. And this young man, I think he knew how lucky he was. But their immediate education was happening. Our officers had them at the street corner and we're talking to them, just in casual conversation, not pointing fingers. I think they saw what happened to their friend, but it's scary and it's going to continue to happen. But I just feel like a broken record up here, but I won't stop until the word gets out that we have to be careful. These children have to be careful, and the parents have to take some ownership into this. I know you don't know, you believe your child that he's just hanging out at Billy's house and not doing anything, but they're not. They are not. I can tell you where you find them on North Dover. In North Dover, a lot of them without helmets, a lot more are wearing helmets, but I just want to say to our first responders, I got to see them in action. I sat back and I watched them, the way they comforted that young man, his mother who was scared to death, father who was concerned, the friends, and the way our police officers were just doing their job. And everybody cleaned up and they were gone in a matter of probably 20, 30 minutes. But it was great to see the village and the compassion that our people show. So it's something special about the people that we have. So thank you. Sorry, I'm saying this now instead of chief, but please pass that along to your crew as well. It was last Saturday night about 8:35. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Fire Department.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Chief, I'm going to share your message with my homeowners group because we have a 12-year-old e-bike posse that runs around my neighborhood. And I threatened my son so he will never be involved in it unless he's got a helmet and like a full bubble wrap on. But he gets in enough trouble without an e-bike. You have my standing notes before you. Kind of a busy month, lots of meetings. Had a very productive meeting with water over, I know Ms. Marjorie will speak on it, non-billable water usage. Had a lot of resolution, extremely positive meeting. Our gentlemen and ladies have started their self-entanglement training. If somebody can, I don't know if you could scroll to those pictures, they're actually pretty good. I'm not sure if you can or not. It's probably like my last page or second to last page. If not, that's okay. That's going to ramp up and go through at Palm Beach State Fire College out there, and they will do a program, there you go. They will do a program called STAR, which is Survival Techniques and Rescue. It's a great program. I've taken it before. It's a nationwide program, and it just basically teaches you to get out alive if you have a problem inside of a building. Mr. French, I'm sure you've taken that class. A lot of people have. We have our Easter open house this Saturday. It should be a very large event from what I'm gathering, and get there early because parking will be at a premium. So farmers market, shredding event, all going on at once. So it'll be pretty busy around here. We have our Dive Rescue International Swiftwater Combo course coming up as well. There's 4 sites within the village: the EOC, Tequesta Park, Country Club Docks, and the Whitehall condos, and we're working on the Loxahatchee River Center as well. So they're going to be there 5 days. We have some free seats for our people to be in it for being the host, and Mr. Costio is in charge of that, and it seems like a very positive impact on the village and to keep our people moving forward with their Swiftwater training. I did go down to the Captain Gustin Memorial Service down at the Casaya Center where the Miami Heat play at. There was probably close to 6,000 people there for his memorial service. It was extremely moving, and he took his own life, and it was a very rough day because I knew him personally. And if you don't know him, and you're in the fire service, probably somebody that trained you trained with him, and his legacy is felt. He was in the business for almost 55 years. And I'm trying to look out for our people and have them look out for each other, and that message is definitely there. Through our Life Scan program that we do every year, which is starting tomorrow, we're working on, through the collective bargaining agreement, having a baseline every year of mental health screening. And hopefully we don't catch anything, but if we do, we'll be able to handle it. The one and only time you get mental health screening when you come into the fire service is when you get hired. And after that, you really don't do much unless you have a problem. So it's impacted me multiple times over my career, and I don't want to see it again. So that's really all I have, and I appreciate your time. Anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you. Council?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, last, Utilities Department.
Marjorie Craig, Utilities Department Director. Am I okay?
Just looking at your shoes.
Oh, sorry. Okay, there's nothing hanging or anything. Okay, you've got my notes here. Just a couple of highlights. Dover Ditch, it looks like we're finally, I feel like I've been up here every month saying, the permits are gonna be issued in a few weeks, but it looks like we really are gonna get the permits issued pretty quickly and still be on target to bid it the second quarter to 2025, which is what's in the schedule. The water treatment plant, we have the filter media replacement project. Allison put it out to bid, and it will be, the bid opening is the 16th, so we're on target for that. And we got the official loan application for Beach Road Phase 2, and we're filling that out, getting that ready for submittal. And I'm gonna have to beef up my monthly report with more photos because it's always really hard to go after police and fire, as you know. But instead of pictures this month, our fine engineering intern, Diego, this is his last month, and we all are already, we've interviewed for our next intern, but this is his last month, and he's going to give us just a short presentation, and I'm gonna be timing you, Diego. He's got 5 minutes, but he's done so much and learned so much of the village, and I want to thank you for your support of having him here. Diego? And before he speaks, one of the things that the village is a member of Toastmasters, and we've had Diego attending Toastmasters, and so you'll see that.
Good evening, everyone, Major Council members and distinguished guests. I'm Diego Mojica, the engineering intern in the Utilities Department here in the Village of Tequesta. I'm going to share a short presentation about what I did and what I learned here in the village. First, let me share a little bit about my background. I was born and raised in Colombia, where I earned my bachelor's degree in chemical engineering in 2019 and my bachelor's degree in environmental engineering in 2021 from La Universidad de los Andes in Colombia. My passion for both fields led me to figure out that one of my goals that I have is to help communities to get access to potable and drinking water. I came to the United States 4 years ago with the purpose to learn the language, and I had the opportunity to pursue my master's degree in civil engineering with focus in water resources. That my graduation will be in May 2nd. And after 1 year, I had the opportunity to work and apply for internship. I decided to apply for the internship here because I was intrigued in how works the public sector, especially in the city level, because it's completely different from Colombia. So this opportunity allows me to involve in the culture, improve my language, and gain a deeper understanding of how works the water sector here in the United States. We can see in the screen some of the goals from an internship that is learning about the village and local government while giving back to the community, some of the projects, and reviewing different career paths. The first project that I got involved was the vulnerability assessment. The vulnerability assessment is important and essential for the village because help to get resilience and protect the infrastructure, the public service, and the natural resources. We can see in the screen the steps for the vulnerability assessment and adaptation plan, and that is completed already. So I get involved to help to complete that adaptation plan for the vulnerability assessment. The village of Tequesta was divided in 3 areas. The areas number 2, focus area number 2, that is in pink color, has the highest concentration of critical assets. So according to that, we prioritize projects that are the elevate generators, restore and improve the dish, stormwater structure improvements, more resilient water treatment plan, and more resilient wastewater lift stations. The second project that I was involved is the wellfield assessment and rehabilitation. I have to create a memorandum and get the parameters for each wells that help us to prioritize the projects in the capital improvement projects timeline. We can see the spreadsheet that help us to update information in real time, like the specific capacity. We can visualize in the graphics if any parameter have issues, and we can address easily these issues. And we can see in the other side, I have the opportunity to work in the field and learn how the company do their rehabilitation. In this case, the well number 26. And the final project the important project that I was involved is I use RGIS system for our projects. One example of the RGIS, the RGIS system help us in the utility department to facilitate accurate mapping of water, stormwater, and wastewater infrastructure, enhance decision making through spatial analysis and visualization, supports asset management by tracking the location and condition of utilities, improve efficiency in responding to maintenance and emergency requests, and provides a centralized platform for data sharing across departments. One example is the pipeline review that we use RGIS to update and add information, spatial and attribute information. In this case, we can add the diameter and material of the pipe, and we can access to the platform in any time. Second example is the stormwater master plan progress tracker that we can upload pictures in real time, and we can access in the computer in the office to see the pictures of the projects. The other one is help us to create the inventory to lead and copper rule improvements. And the final project is I have to scan all the physical as-built and update in the RGIS that help us to reduce the time and space in the office. Finally, I have the opportunity to participate in AWWA that helped me to develop professional, create networking opportunities, and meet other people in the industry. This is the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego.
Thank you.
Thank you. You saw that large room full of paper it's all digital. So we're pretty happy about that. I did want to just finally mention that we did an updated presentation for Dover Ditch at the Loxahatchee River Preservation Initiative, LRPI, meeting that is posted under the projects that affecting residents, along with the timeline that's in the monthly update. We'll be keeping that posted and then developing a page for each of the projects. Any questions?
Council, any comments or questions?
Thank you,
I have one quick question and a comment. The question is, As you know, I'm very excited about the CIP timeline schedule that you guys have created. Going forward, and I don't know if this has been established yet, are you gonna like set this as a baseline, and then are we going to be able to see if a project like pulls ahead of schedule or is lagging? Is that something that you'll be able to highlight for us?
We can do that.
Okay. Because otherwise we'll have to like keep going back in agendas to kind of figure out just something so we know if like we're on track,
if something
the schedule's
changes.
pulled ahead,
Okay.
which is great, or if it's, lagging.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's something that we talked about with the manager, that if there's a reason why, as you know, I mean, I wish I had control over everything. But it's a marathon and not a sprint sometimes with utilities projects. So, but you should know if something happens and we fall behind.
Yeah, or pull ahead. Like,
Or
we
pull
want to
ahead.
know if
Well,
you're
we're-
ahead of schedule and celebrate it, right? And so, like I said, it's a good gauge for us. Like, otherwise, if it's not really in the notes or it's not, like, if there's not a baseline that we're comparing to, like, we're going to have to go back through agendas to, like, wait, did this change? Or where are we ahead? Are we behind? So, like, just, like, set the baseline and then we can know. So, yeah, I want to know if you're ahead of schedule, too, because that's fantastic and it should be recognized.
We're planning on being, Allison, I'm so excited, like, every day coming in, because Allison and I are always plotting in a good way, not like an evil scientist. We're trying to make sure that we're keeping things on track and trying to keep things definitely on schedule or ahead of schedule. So she's already helped tremendously. Thank you so much for your support. And for the capital charge, thank you for pointing that out, because really without having that, we could not move forward with some of these projects. And they're
then-
really badly needed.
Yes. And
As
just
you
a
know.
comment, Diego, thank you for putting that presentation together. I appreciate it. I hope you really enjoyed your time here, and we wish you the best on your future endeavors.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Good job, Diego.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, on to the regular agenda. Old business number 11, consider approval finally of Kimley Horn's agreement for the design of Tequesta Park.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an item to consider approval of work authorization from Kimley Horn to set forth in the professional engineering services agreement to provide 100% construction plans with limited permitted surfaces for Tequesta Park. As you know, we were awarded an appropriation from the state in the amount of $681,000. It's actually a little over 900,000. Our part is 35%, so from the state, we get up to $682,000. This agreement is all said and done, it would be $202,000. We have budgeted this amount through our capital program, so this is not part of the general fund revenue. And so Mr. Jonathan Hay is here tonight. He can answer any questions specifically about the scope that's developed. Staff did meet with him. We went through the process. Originally, we had 90% plans but we pulled some things out with surveying, geotech, environmental. We'll bring separate agreements back through council, through the purchasing process, making sure we're meeting that purchasing process. But the scope of services, design development, site plan preparation and traffic impact study, preparation of 100% plans, limiting permitting services, coordination and project management through the council, coming to council meetings and schedule with staff. The cost of this is $499,755. I think that pretty much sums it up. If you guys have questions, I can answer any of those, or Mr. Hay is here and he can answer any questions about the scope as well.
Council, any discussion?
I have a few comments. I think it's more about the entire project itself, not just the site plan. And as I asked for some history earlier today, just to make sure I was up to date on all the previous meetings before I was here, and to clarify some of the resident concerns that I've heard, and I think some of them are valid concerns. I think the first one, the project itself, is the cost of approximately $8 million of not the site plan, but the future project if we do develop Tequesta Park. I think that's a good number to know. I wasn't aware of the exact number, and that might have been just my miss, but I was glad to be updated of that number. And then in the budgeting for this right now, I believe as council, we're going forward with this project as leaning on appropriations from the state and not just taxpayer revenue. And that's something I want to make sure that our residents knew, and that if we were all on the same page. And then furthermore, that we're just relying on those future appropriations, that we don't have it budgeted with taxpayer dollars. And the other part of that is that I do support that going forward, but if we were to use direct taxpayer dollars, I would like to come back and have that conversation if we were not awarded those appropriations from the state. Thank you.
I agree a lot with Councilmember French. I've had conversations with members of our community that have expressed their concern. We've been maintaining this park for a number of years with a park that's not in our village, which is used by people outside of the village. All the reasons that I don't need to go through again. And I've said it before, I said it a year ago, my concern is we get a plan that we can't get funding for, and it sits on the shelf. And that's a huge concern. When I asked about all this, it was brought to my attention that roughly $500,000 of this, or whatever the amount is from the state of Florida. And our $202,000 is not from our ad valorem taxes, but it's from the sales tax, which perhaps could be put to a better use somewhere else. But I want to see this proceed. I take comfort in supporting it, knowing that it's sales tax dollars, nothing that you and I paid in our real estate taxes. We paid some of that when we went out and we bought things, but it's indirectly coming back to us. So as much as I have said before, and I agree with Jayson when he had said going forward, there can be no further, we've got to find out where this money comes from. If it's $8 million and we can't get, and if we get $4 from the state, where do we find $4 million? Because we're losing our roughly $1,000 a year in the 1 penny sales tax. That is going to sunset at the end of the year. So we've got to look at where this money could come from. Again, I feel a little bit better knowing that our investment in this planning process is from sales tax dollars and not from our ad valorem. But going forward, I'll be a hard no to, I'll be a hard sell, I should say, to move forward if we can't get more assurances that there will be money, and that this just doesn't become an evergreen of trying to get funding after funding after funding after funding, and nothing changes, and we've got a plan that may be outdated by the time we raise enough money for the $8 million. So I will support this evening because of where the monies are coming from, and it didn't come directly out of any of our pockets. Indirectly it did, but not directly from ad valorem. So I struggle with it, but I am going to support it so we can move this part of the process forward.
I think the good thing about what you two have brought up is a lot of that stuff is on our strategic plan. That is the next item, right? Finding other ways for funding. And I know our lobbyist has some ideas that I think maybe next year or next session, I don't know, but Jeremy's been talking to him. So yeah, that's on our strategic plan. So I think everyone's pretty aligned with that going forward once design's complete. Okay, any public comment?
Yes, Marcia Nielsen.
I feel like St. John, a voice in the wilderness. Again, I stand here asking you again to table this expenditure of $250,000 for Tequesta Park and rethink the entire project. Please consider the following, which may directly impact this project. The park does not belong to us, it belongs to the state of Florida. 2 bills are now present in Tallahassee. What would the impact be if one of these passes? One of them called for no ball fields. The governor's initiative last year to expand JD with 3 golf courses and supporting services. This is not a dead deal. It'll come back again. The governor's declaration that the state will be using Dodge model, which will mean less revenue for local government for projects going forward. Revenues to museums and art centers were reduced to 0 last budget. It is realistic to think that the state of Florida would fund this expansion. How are you going to fund this? It's crazy to ask for a bond issue for something we don't own. It has taken 1 year and $1 million to construct Remembrance Park. The park has only 2 small structures. The cost for a playground replacement in Constitution Park is approximately $1 million. Project those 2 figures onto the scope presented for Tequesta Park, and it is not out of the realm of possibility, and I'll see your 8 and raise you to 10. It's reasonable to assume that the construction of Tequesta Park would begin after the halfway mark of the contract in 2030, and if the contract were not renewed, all permanent structures would revert to the state. In addition, we enter our budget process, consider the governor's initiative to reduce the sales tax to 5.25, the governor's initiative to reduce property tax, the sunsetting of tax revenues, which will result in $1 million loss to us, the council's commitment to fund reserves, and the uncertainty in the economic global picture. Please ask yourselves, in light of the points I have made, is it a good time to invest $250,000? I don't really care where it came from, Rick, to this project. Once you take one step closer to committing to a project that Tequesta cannot afford to build or maintain, it would be harder to stop the process at a later time, since so many funds have already been invested. You're throwing good money after bad. It's time to stop and reassess if this is even viable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Ms. Watkins?
Good evening once again, Council. Pat Watkins, 167 River Drive. I appreciate the information tonight, especially about the sales tax revenue being used in this. And I'm sure you're hoping that the state comes through to help fund this thing. It's still a question mark. My main concern is the bigger and the more money you put into this park is the backside of it and the cost it's going to be to the residents to maintain it. The more that's in there and the more money that's spent, making it better just drives up the cost of the maintenance in my mind. If it comes online, Parks and Rec now is responsible for 3 parks. You have Remembrance coming online, Constitution at some point in the near future, I'm sure needs some sort of renovation, and then you're going to have Tequesta Park as well. And I'm just really concerned about the impact it's going to be on the residents to maintain all this in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right. Council, can I get a motion? Or is there any other discussion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Agenda item 12, consider approval of the 2025-2026 strategic plan.
Thank you, Mayor. On March 7th, the Village Council had a planning workshop to review the 24-25 strategic plan and develop the 25-26 strategic plan. The plan, as you guys see it, is my attempt to capture the council's priorities that we ranked at the workshop and any comments that was provided to me. I'm open for, make sure that we, have that discussion to make sure that we did that. And so in front of you, you have the strategic plan. We will use this as a document to help us budget in this upcoming year and try to budget for some of these initiatives as funds are available and as they're prioritized. With that, any questions, feel free I can answer those.
Council, any comments or questions?
Nothing additional.
I have one on, it's under additional priorities. It is number 5, improve communication with the development community. I don't know if this is a cost one. I don't know if we're going to workshop that, but I just want to say that I want to make sure, we already have our conceptual plan process, and the way we look at this, I would almost, if we're going to move down the road of providing something like this, like I think a town hall or charrette, there was some ideas thrown around, that I would like it to be at the request of the developers. I don't want to mandate it, because we already have our conceptual plan. Because I feel like I don't want to make it too difficult for developers to do business here. If we add another layer, that could discourage, good growth and development. And the state, the past several years, keeps coming after development, CRAs, building apartments, so they already think we have too many restrictions. So I want to be careful there. If we do end up workshopping that and doing something, I would really like it to be at the request of the developers, but we should probably codify it somehow, so it's in our code, everyone knows it's an option, and just have some parameters. So it's just my 2 cents with that one, the only one that kind of caught my eye.
What number was that, Molly?
It's, under additional priorities, it was number 5.
Okay.
If you look at this cheat sheet, Mr. Painter, that's the best look at it, so you don't have to go through, but it is also in your packet as well.
Thank you.
I think as you said, workshopping it to get those details down, and this is more of the two-way conversation you're speaking of, opposed to the one-way, I believe. And then would the residents be able to initiate that as well, or only the developer?
I would be in favor of the developer being, requesting it. Like I said, I think probably any development that is, this process would, qualify for or want to do, it would be a development that's probably gonna come for a conceptual plan anyways. So I do understand that we can have as much back and forth during a conceptual plan with the developer, the applicant, as we want. I know the public has their 3 minutes. You know, I do know, I don't know if, I think it's Jay, like he has been encouraging the larger developments to meet, with the nearby neighbors, and I think they've been pretty open to that. I know we've had, from what I understand, neighbors deny a meeting with a developer, so, but yeah, I want to be, especially since those developments, I would be probably up for discussion, they're already gonna come for a conceptual. I would hate to mandate another layer for them to have to go through, because it's so much work to begin with. I do think a lot of people value our conceptual plan process. I haven't worked in any other municipality that offers that, and it does help them get a gauge on public record with, community feedback before they really invest in the cost for a full site plan package. So I think it's been a really good addition. But yeah, to continue to add more, I'd be careful of that, especially with how the state's been coming after that stuff the past couple of years too.
Yeah, my support of keeping this initiative on there is not to make it mandatory, but to just give us, another arrow in our quiver when it comes to the ability to have a sane, cogent conversation where everybody gets equal time to just Q&A. So I would like to see us name it something, call it something, memorialize it, but then not make it required at all. But we may never use it, but now we can say, oh, we have this opportunity, we have this vehicle in order to address these concerns, and we can have it out and, what it looks like. But it would not, my support of this is not to make it mandatory, it would be to have available as a tool to communicate with the public.
I mean, did you say we're workshopping this?
Well, no, I think that, Jeremy, some of these
Sounds like
are
we're workshopping right now.
straightforward, they have budget implications, but there's some that maybe don't, and we are gonna workshop, so will you prioritize those and
Yeah.
maybe the ones that don't have financial or something but are low hanging fruit that we can workshop too. You want to throw them on our ongoing list and we can prioritize them.
Yep, we'll do that.
As far as my 2 cents for communication with developments, I'm very open about that developers and us sitting up here should not be afraid of the people. We do have to structure how we have conversations so we can get somewhere. We experienced that with the overlays, and there was one particular overlay that just kept going back and forth, and I feel like that developer in particular was trying to be open to hearing people, and so I support us trying to find some structure in how to make that more productive in the future, whether it's required or not. I do like that idea, but I would definitely support different ways we can include the public and the residents in a more accessible manner. That makes sense. So I can see both sides, but I definitely think more open communication with the public. Developers should not be afraid of that.
Yeah.
Because they'll tell you if they love you, hate it, and that, for me, is how we get that conversation started. Don't be afraid of them. They'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I like the idea of having it available as a process, but I 100% agree it can't be mandatory, or should not be mandatory. But some developers may take advantage of that. I think the more input they can get, the better.
Right. Okay. All right, any other initiatives we want to discuss? Everything else good to go?
I think we already did that.
Okay, great. Any public comment? Any public comment? All right, can I get a motion?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Under new business, item number 13, ordinance number 03-25, which is a first reading, updating some of the code for vacation rentals.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 0325, ordinance of the Village Council, Village of Tequesta, Florida, amending Chapter 78 zoning, Article 14, vacation rentals, Section 78-891, vacation rental permit application, and Section 78-893, vacation rental standards, in order to accurately conform these provisions to building and fire prevention codes, providing that each and every other section, subsection in Chapter 78 shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing conflicts clause, severability clause, authority to codify effective date and for other purposes. This also comes to the Village Council with a recommendation of approval from the local planning agency.
Thank you. Wayne, do you have anything to add? Council, any comments, questions on the updates to ordinance?
Just thank you to the LPA for their input. It's comforting to see what, I like to see what they did and their comments were, but at 5-0, I think it was pretty straightforward.
Okay, thank you. Any comment cards? Any public comment? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 14, ordinance number 02-25, first reading, making some amendments to some of the election items from our charter as it relates to candidacy.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 0225, an ordinance of the Village Council, Village of Tequesta, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances at Chapter 2, Administration. Article 5, Elections, Division 1, Section 2-234, electronic filing of campaign finance reports, to allow the village to opt out of procedures for electronic filing of campaign finance reports when requested by the village clerk. Also amending Division 2, Section 2251, inspectors, other election workers, to add the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections as being authorized to appoint poll workers for village polling places. Also amending Division 3, Section 273, vacancy and candidacy or prior to taking office, to add examples of residency proof requirements, creating a new Section 2-270, qualifications, to describe qualifications for candidacy and provide examples of residency proof requirements. Brian, each and every other section, subsection of Chapter 2 shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing conflicts clause, severability clause, authority to codify effective date and for other purposes.
Thank you, Keith. Okay, council, any comments or questions on this one?
Not for me.
Nope. Any comment cards? No. Any public comment? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 15, resolution 03-25, in regards to the candidate filing fee. Keith, Lori, is anyone gonna?
So, our code requires a qualifying fee to be set by resolution of the village council, and currently it is set at 1% of the council's salary. Clerk, is that what we're doing?
No, currently it's $30.
Oh, we're gonna make
And
it
we-
1%.
I'm requesting
The resolution
1%,
would make it
correct.
1% of your, I honestly don't recall what your current compensation is as we sit here today, but
It would be $83, but it would change every year with their increase. The filing fee has been the same for 43 years.
I think we're like at the bottom of the.
Yes,
It's the
yes.
lowest of
Yes.
any example in Palm Beach County.
Yeah, I think we saw one or two that had zero, but that's pretty, most of it ranged anywhere from 0 to a couple $1,000s. So I think, ours at 1% of our council salary is, I feel comfortable that's reasonable and not out there, so.
And the zero ones generally don't have a salary, council salary.
Yeah, true. Good point.
At least,
What does the money go to?
It goes towards the candidate filing, the candidate handbooks,
The book.
the
We
labor,
covered the
the,
cost
the meeting with you and the cost of the books and the paper and that type of thing.
So quick question, because instead of council member Painter went through this, end of last year, it was over 100 what was paid, but did that include more than just the filing fee, maybe?
It was $30 for the filing fee for the village, and then it was 1% of your salary that goes to the state of Florida.
So,
Not
okay,
even
so
to the
now it'll
village.
be, so it'll be more, it'll be 1% of our salary, and then that also 1%.
Correct.
Oh, got it, okay. Understood, okay.
The other 1% is an election assessment fee that goes straight to the state of Florida.
But yeah, it's combined when we pay.
That is
Okay.
correct.
That makes sense. Okay, any other comments, questions?
Thank you for updating this, Lori. No comment.
Okay, any comment cards? Any public comment? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, with that, we're already on any other matters. Council, anything else for this evening?
No, ma'am.
No.
Go Gators.
Stop it.
Very cute.
All right.
Good placement.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Man, your placement's perfect both times.
You know, it's been a while since I've been able to say that.
Yeah.